So, the visitor's visa is known as a B1, B2 type of visa. B1 is normally for business, and then the B2 is for tourism purposes or for pleasure. And even under the B2, medical purposes, if you are coming to seek medical treatments, you can go under the B2 visa. Okay, and when you're coming for, to the US, you have to make sure that, again, you satisfy 4 eligibility criteria. Number 1, you're coming for the purpose of pleasure or a temporary visit. So, for example, I'll be going to the White House, I'll be going to Disneyland, I'll be going to, the museum, the DC, fisheries or whatever. You're coming for pleasure. Then number 2, you're coming for a temporary period of time. So, for example, you're coming for maybe just 2 weeks. So you can demonstrate that through, of course, maybe a ticket reservation, a return ticket reservation, or something from your job that says, oh, you're on leave and, you have 1 month leave, you're going and you're coming. Then the third thing is that you should also be able to demonstrate that you have a residence abroad, you don't intend to abandon, and that you have ties to your home country that will compel you to return to your home country at the end of your trip. So, the ways you can do this, for example, if you are married, you have children, you have a house, you have a business, you are actively involved in your community, it shows ties to your local community and to your home country. Okay. And then the fourth thing is that money, of course, you should be able to pay for the trip. So that when you come in on the B2, because when you're coming in on a B2 visa, it does not give you authorization to work. You cannot work. Again, they want to protect the US labor market, the labor force. So they cannot just allow people to come in and then come and work. So if you're coming in for 4 weeks and you just have, let's say, $3,000 in your bank account, your whole world, you have just $3,000. Logically, the officer is going to deny you because even a ticket alone is about $2,000. And if you are coming for a month, let's say you are going to, what you eat, Uber, your tourism purpose, what exactly are you going to do? Your shopping and all of that. So you should have some money. Even if you are not able to sponsor the trip yourself, you should have someone who's willing to say, hey, I'm also, interested in this person coming to visit me or in this person going. So I'm willing to sponsor the trip. So you should be able to demonstrate these 4 things in order to get a B2 visa. Okay. And then any other type of visa? Oh, as for the types of visas, there are so many. They are known as it's like an alphabet soup. Every alphabet you can think of, there's a type of visa: A, B, C, D, E. But mostly it's a tourist visa and visiting visa, right? Yes, the tourist visa is the same as the visitor's visa. Normally, the most common types of visas are like, as we said, either the immigrant visa for family members or the student visa, and then the tourist or the visitors type of visas. Yeah, those are the very common types of visas that. Let's talk about the funeral. That one, somebody is dead, a family member is dead, and you need to go there, funeral and all that. That one, how difficult it is? Is it easy or is what is the process like? Okay, so if someone is dead in the US, the correct type of visa. So the other thing I must tell you is that if you're going to apply for any type of visa in the US, you need to make sure that you're applying for the correct category. Because if you don't apply for the correct category, the whole application will be denied and the fees are not refundable. So if you're coming for a funeral, the correct type of visa again is a B2, the temporary visa, which is the B2 visitor's visa. And in fact, when it comes to the funeral, you are allowed to even expedite your B2 visa appointment based on a funeral because it's a very important. And normally it has to be of a very close family member, like a mother, father, spouse, sister, someone very close. And as part of your documentation, you should be able to demonstrate that truly you are coming for a funeral. If you have an obituary of the person that died, and then if you have, let's say, if you say, for example, okay, it's your mother that's dead, you have the obituary ready. Let's say she's in New York. Maybe she's called, I don't know, Akua Obi Mainso, New York, gone too soon. What a shock. You have the obituary. Now, you should be able to say that, okay, here's my birth certificate listing Akua Obi Mainso as mother and with my name. So those two documents read in conjunction will prove to the consular officer that, okay, number one is true, someone is truly dead. And number two, there's a qualifying relationship between the deceased and the person attempting to apply for the visa. So, you just have to demonstrate that truly someone is dead. And then what is your relationship or what's your business with that person? Why do you want to attend the funeral? Once you're able to demonstrate that, in addition to proving that, you are going to be there for a short time or for a finite period of time, then they are going to more likely than not grant you the visa.
Okay, let's see this one. How to prepare for immigration interview for U.S. visa.
So again, it depends on the type of visa you're applying for. If you're applying for so let's say your husband has filed for you and you are abroad, let's say in Ghana, and you are going for the immigration interview, the preparation we will give you will be different from someone who's going for a B2 visa. Now, let's take, for example, yes, a marriage-based. Let's say your husband is in the US and you are based in Ghana and you are going for the interview. So there's something known as a K1 fiancé visa, right? So if you're a US citizen, you can file for your fiancé based in, let's say, Ghana, or your boyfriend or girlfriend based in Ghana that you intend to get married to. Sometimes what happens is that people will file this K1 fiancé visa. Once you file it, you cannot get married. You have to wait until the person comes to the US. Then within 90 days, you can get married in the US. The mistake a lot of Ghanaians make is that they'll file the K1 fiancé visa and then go and do a Fia warrior, the Ghanaian marriage, the customary marriage, traditional one. So when you go for the interview and then they ask you and you show them pictures and questions, you're going to be denied. So, the specific type, so that's another type of visa, the K1 visa. As I was telling you, almost all the letters in the alphabet have types of visas. So the K1 visa is for, you are the boyfriend or girlfriend of a US citizen. So you have to be prepared depending on the type of visa. Again, let's say a marriage-based visa. A lot of people also do what is known as the transactional marriages, right? They are not really in a relationship. Money has changed hands. They've paid money. And then they're saying, okay, you are my husband, I'm your wife. One thing people have to know is that the U.S. Embassy in Accra, what they do, they actually send people, they send locals, Ghanaians, and they send people from the U.S. Embassy to come into your neighborhood. If you live at Teshi, if you live at La Paz, if you live at Kokomlemle, they will send people to your vicinity because you provide your house address, you provide your employment history, they have all those details. They send people and then they come to your neighborhood and they come and ask questions from your neighbors. Is this person really married? Do you know this man? They'll show pictures, they'll show what they need to show. And then sometimes the neighbors, they don't know what's going on. They're like, no. Debbie, they'll tell them what it is, that no, this person you are showing to us is not the husband of this woman. And they're able to confirm it through various sources. And then they'll deny you. And once they deny you, you are banned for what is known as misrepresentation or marriage fraud. You have a marriage fraud bar. So, depending on the type of visa you're applying for, we'll be able to prepare you. So that's a very broad question. But
wow. So what documents not to use for your visa, visit visa or marriage visa application?
Okay, what documents not to, let's say visitor's visa. So one of the sources of denials, one of the major reasons why people are denied visitors visas, number one, relationship fraud. Number two, document fraud. Number three, misrepresentation. When we talk about relationship fraud, someone, has been able to get, let's say, a green card. Let's say, let me even go back to visa lottery. They win the visa lottery. Then her cousin brings a child and says that, hey, what we need visa lottery? They bring the child, someone's child and say, add this person as your own child. Then they go and create a fictitious birth certificate. And then, go to the embassy saying that this person is their child. Meanwhile, they've never actually given birth. So that's relationship fraud. When it comes to documentary fraud, sometimes people will go get married. Well, let me give this example. because one of the ways to get a B2 visitors visa is to show that you have ties in Ghana. So sometimes they tend to say that if you're single, most of the time they'll deny you a visa, or you don't have children, they'll deny you a visa. So people will pretend they are married. So they'll go and say, oh, I'm married. And then they go and create, a marriage certificate showing that they are married. So those are some of the documentary fraud. Like you're not really married, but you are submitting a document that shows that you are married. So those are some of the things you should not submit.
Okay. So I have another angle here. I think you've answered similar to what you just said. I wanted to ask you, why are most Ghanaians refused?
Oh yeah, we can talk about that.
Why are most Ghanaians refused visitors visa to US?
Okay.
What should one do to be granted the visa?
The visitors visa. Okay. Very, very good question. So I was just reviewing the latest statistics that was issued by the U.S. Department of State, and they give the adjusted visa refusal rates. I've even shared this on my social media pages. When it comes to Ghana, when it comes to B2 visas, every 6 out of 10 people are denied visitors visas. When it comes to Nigeria, every 7 out of 10 people. So every 10 people that go to the U.S. Embassy in Ghana, 6 are denied visitors visas. So that's very high. I mean, if most people are denied, that's not good. One of the reasons, again, there's a lot of misrepresentation. People go and they don't speak the truth. There's a lot of lies. And what they don't realize is that it's not only your present application that counts. All the past applications you've done, sometimes these applications contradict themselves. And with the US government, they never forget. They keep records very well. So even if you filed 20 years ago, they'll pull it up and say, you said your mother's name was Abna Mansa. Your mother's name is Victoria Tano. Only one person. So already your credibility is at stake. They'll deny you. Again, they've also realized that, to be honest, there's quite a high number of Ghanaians that come here and have visa overstays. Once your country is noted for a visa overstay, then logically it seems like, okay, all of them are trying to run to come to the US. So they make it a little bit more difficult, because for countries like Canada or even the Netherlands, when people they for example, like the Netherlands, France, the European countries, they have something known as a ESTA. They don't need a B2 visa. They are able to come in with their passports for 90 days and leave. Those people don't really want to come and overstay. They come, they do their shopping, they enjoy themselves, and they go back. But for people like, for Ghanaians, what they've noticed is that some people will take the B2 visa. They'll say, okay, I'm coming for a short stay. They come and then they vanish. So I met, when I was, I believe it was in August, I was coming to Ghana, and I met a man at the airport in New York. And he was telling me, or was it in Virginia? I can't even remember. And he was telling me that, he came here about 20 years ago. He came on a J1 visa. He said he was a teacher in Ghana. And he came to the US on a J1 visa. The J1 visa is a cultural exchange type of visa. And when he got here, the point was that, the Ghanaian teachers were coming to teach the American students, some of their culture, and then also learn and then go back to their country. He said when they got to their school, they started teaching them. The children were like, they don't understand. Their accents are too thick. Like, they can't hear these Ghanaian teachers when they teach. So they were all supposed to go back to Ghana. He said they all vanished. All of them. All the teachers that were brought here, they all vanished. And through that, he's been able to, establish himself here in the US. He told me he has a wife and 5 children. He's been able to bring all his 5 children to the US. They're all US citizens, and he's currently waiting to bring his wife to the US. So it shows you that, those are some of the reasons why it becomes a little difficult for them to grant visas to many Ghanaians because of their experience with us. And the US Department of State, they keep their data very well. They have all these rates. They have in-stay overstays, in-country overstays, out-of-country overstays, the percentage for each country each year. I review these, and they have all this data, So They're able to track how many Ghanaians came in, didn't go back, how many Ghanaians came in and went back after the time they were supposed to go back. You know, they have all these stats.
Wow, wow, wow. Let's talk about this. You don't have traveling experience and all that. You need to travel to somewhere. You need to have some visa in your passport before you come to U.S. Embassy. Oh, my friend, we are sorry, we can't give you visa because you don't have travel experience. That thing, does it still exist?
It does. It does. I mean, and it's very, you know, it's very.
So you have to go to some particular countries before you can get U.S. visa.
Generally, yes. So, you know, it's very frustrating because it's a chicken and egg situation. You said I should have travel experience, and yet you've denied me the visa. So how do I get travel experience, right?
But if you don't, that thing I don't understand. If you don't give us the visa,
how do we get
the visa? How would the person get a travel experience?
I mean, yes, it's very, very, as I said, very frustrating. But to be honest, once you go in front of a consular officer, you know, there are kind of like 3 tiers to this. The lowest tier is that at least you should have been able to visit an African country. Togo, Nigeria, you've gone, you've come. It shows that this person, he's stable. He wants to be back in his home country. Then sort of like tier 2, you visited maybe Dubai, Europe. You've gone, you've come back. It's good. You know, Australia, you've gone, you've come back. Now, the highest tier is that you've actually come to the US and you've returned to Ghana. That always increases your chances. It's like the golden standard, and you feel like, okay, this person is trustworthy. He's come to taste the sweet apple and has gone back. So we can give him another bite, right, of the apple. So having travel experience is important, but there are also people that don't have travel experiences, but are able to demonstrate eligibility for the type of visas that they're applying for, and then they'll be granted. So, you know, it's not an absolute rule. It's very helpful to have some travel experience, but if you don't have it, it shouldn't stop you from also attempting to get the visa. But if you have the opportunity, try to visit other African countries, and then, you know, Dubai, or, you know, all these other countries, China, if you can. That's
okay.
Also.
I live outside the US with my child who is a US citizen. How can I go and live in the US with my child?
Okay. Who is a US citizen?
My child.
Oh, your child is a US citizen. How do you come and live in the US with your child?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So when it comes to citizenship, I
live outside though.
Yes.
Let's say, yeah, I live outside in Ghana with my child who is a US citizen.
Okay, yeah, don't worry. So when it comes to US citizenship, the 14th Amendment of the US Constitution states that any person who is born on US territory automatically acquires US citizenship. That's known as the principle of jus soli, born on the soil, law of the soil. Once you are a baby and you are dropped on US soil, it doesn't matter that your mother is a Ghanaian, she's undocumented. So far as you were born in the US, you become a US citizen.
Okay.
Now, once your baby is a US citizen, there's actually no direct and immediate benefit to the parent. The baby cannot transfer citizenship to the parent. Despite the fact that the reverse is true. If you are a parent who's a US citizen, you can transfer by the principle of jus sanguinis, law of the blood. You know, you can give your child US citizenship. If you're a US citizen, your child is a US citizen, right? But if the baby is a US citizen, there's no reverse transferal. So there's no direct benefit until the child actually turns 21 years old. Once a child turns 21 years old, then they can file a petition for you, the parent. But until then, it doesn't really help you. You cannot come and live here on the token of your child's citizenship.
Wow. 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 Behaviors and mannerism that might make an officer deny someone entry into the USA.
Oh, deny them entry into the USA. Yeah, that's a very good question. When you land at any US airport, there are cameras all around. There are CBP officers monitoring these cameras all around. There are dogs monitoring people, you know. So right from the time you step out, you step onto especially because after September 11th, they are very alert, not only because of, you know, terrorist attacks, but also because of drug, all those things. So they are watching of course, your comportment, your behavior, and they have all these experts who have studied body language, how to read a person's nervousness and all that. So all I'll tell you is that once you land from the plane, relax. Relax. You've landed. You don't have to feel tense. Just relax. The English you can speak, you speak it to the officer and you move on. Don't put yourself under pressure. And then you let them now take you to secondary inspection because you are sweating profusely. And they're like, why is this guy sweating? And then they'll go and pull up things from your WhatsApp and see an 8-year-old child who is nude, and that brings you another problem, and it's an 8-year-old child who's naked, because again, that's a criminal issue. So you want to just be relaxed so that you don't complicate your life. Just relax. Just make sure that you are dressed properly. If you have, normally, the US, they can still, there's a lot of racial profiling, right? If you're a black person, you want to make sure you are very well dressed. You are very neatly dressed. You don't have earphones, blasting music, tattoos, showing big chains, saggy. I mean, that already makes you a suspect. And then they could profile you some more. So just try to fit in, relax, make sure you are looking fine. And then once there are two lines. There's the non-citizens and green card holders, and then there's a line for US citizens. So if you're a visitor, you'll be going into non-citizen line. So you have a custom officer who will call you. Once they call you, the question they'll ask you is maybe, how are you doing? What's the purpose of your trip, or what are you coming to do in the US? At that point, you should have already prepared what you're coming to say. It's not at that point that you're now coming to think, oh my God, what am I coming to do? You should have your story very straight and laid out. If you are coming for a funeral or you're coming for a graduation ceremony, you should be able to tell them, I'm here for a graduation ceremony, my sister's graduation ceremony. And then they'll ask you, how long are you here for? You should know how long you are here for. And you should make sure that the length of the period you state is in line with the ticket you're holding. So you don't hold a ticket for 6 months, or you have a one-way ticket and you tell them you are coming for 2 weeks. So just being direct with the officer, looking the officer in the eye and answering your questions as simply as you can. Please don't go volunteering information.
Does it mean whatever is submitted to the embassy that they give you the visa, that information, you need to have it?
Absolutely. You need to have it. So sometimes I have consultations with some people, and I have them. Sometimes they come through the CBP, the airport. And once you get there, you can be put into something known as an expedited removal. What that means is that you won't even cross the border, and your visa will be cancelled, and you are put back onto the next plane to Ghana, and you are banned for 5 years. It's known as expedited removal. What happens is that, for example, somebody will go to the US embassy. They are, let's say, 4 months pregnant. They go to the US embassy, and then they tell the officer that, they ask, okay, what are you going to do in the US? And they're like, oh, I just want to go visit the US. Meanwhile, they knew they were pregnant, right? They give them the visa, and it's fine. You can be a pregnant woman and you can go for a visa. There's nothing against that. Now, when you come to the port of entry, and then they realize that it looks like you are very heavily pregnant, and you are specifically trying to come in to deliver a baby to obtain US citizenship, and you lie about it, they can cross-check what you actually told your officer at the consular office. Because, for example, there's something known as a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. We can pull up all your records from the US embassy. The database is connected. They have all that database, so they can pull it up and see exactly what you told the officer. So your storyline has to be consistent, and once you are being consistent and honest, that's all these people are looking for. That's all they're normally looking for. So
okay, how can a US citizen apply for US passport for their child born outside US?
Okay, so if your child is born outside the US, you can go through a process known as CRB, a consular report of birth abroad. And normally it means that the child was born after the Ghanaian or the foreign national naturalized or became a US citizen. Then, what you have to do is you file something known as you are reporting the birth abroad to the US embassy, because by reason of the fact that your father is a U.S. citizen, as I mentioned, there's jus sanguinis. There is something known as the automatic acquisition of U.S. citizenship. So the child automatically acquires citizenship upon birth. So all you have to do is report the birth of the child abroad, and the child will be issued a U.S. passport. As part of the process, you'll have to demonstrate that, okay, it's truly your child. You just have to demonstrate that you gave birth to that child, or that child is truly yours, and then the child will obtain his citizenship.
Okay, before I leave you, my last question. I want to know if the embassies, they are connected to other countries' embassies. Let's say information, I've been in UK, I have my informations there. I've been in maybe Canada, I have my informations there. When I go to US, they can easily know I've been here. They can easily tap my information I gave here. Maybe I gave them different information compared to what I'm bringing here. Those things, do they have that database? Do they have something like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the US embassies are actually connected to all the other embassies. They actually share intelligence, they share data, they share information. So you can
all the embassies or some
embassies. Oh, you know why? Well, you know what? I don't know. Let's say Qatar. I don't know about Qatar, but I know Europe, Canada. I believe the UK. They share with the US. I don't know the specific countries that have this type of. I don't know about China and all that, but for sure I know Europe, Canada. I believe the UK would also have that type of reciprocity arrangement. So. You know why? It's because it's in all of them their interest to do so. They all have very similar immigration laws. So, for example, nobody wants a terrorist in their country. Nobody wants a bomber in their country. So they share these things, and then also you cannot go to the Canadian embassy and say you are single. Go to the US embassy and say you're married. I actually recently had a client. He told me that he went to the US embassy, and I believe he said he was single, and they were like, but you told the Canadian embassy that you were the reverse. He said he was married here and told them he was single. So they're able to pull up that database. I've even recorded this video on TikTok. I was like, if you're trying to, your information across embassies must be consistent and it must be the truth. Because if they pull up whatever information you've given to, let's say, the Canadian embassy or France embassy, then you'll be in trouble if you've been lying and your story doesn't add up.
Okay, nice one. Thanks for passing through today. Lawyer AK Poku. What is PLLC?
Oh, that's just the entity, how my law firm is incorporated in the US. So it's a professional limited liability corporation, PLLC.
Oh, okay. Lawyer AK Poku from US. Lawyer, before I leave you, what's your last message and your social media handles for those who want to follow you to know more?
Okay. Let me give you my social media handles. Just just search AK Poku Law on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. Just AK Poku Law. And yes, be sure to, and on YouTube, of course, be sure to like, follow, share with your friends. We're doing amazing work here in the US. We're representing immigrants and we're helping them to live their American dream. So that's it.
Nice one, lawyer. Thank you so much. You have a website, right?
Yes. Oh, but yes, the website. What happens is that when I go on a show, a lot of people now go and leave us plenty messages, and we are, so the best thing is the social media, because with that one, it's easier to manage. So they can leave comments instead of the inboxes, like follow the page, but not the website. Unless you're trying to book or schedule a meeting with me, that's when you can go to the website and actually schedule the meeting. But if you're looking for free help, just, comment on our social media, the type of help you need. And then we can, if it runs across, we can organize something for you. But if you're coming into our inboxes and our websites, then it should be for business.
Okay, you heard it. Lawyer AK Poku, thank you so much for passing through today. Next time we'll get you again. I know maybe before I'll get you again, maybe after Christmas. Cool.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much for passing through, educating us. Anytime you are free, just let us know. Then maybe if we have another topic we can treat. Okay, nice one. My name is
So
DJ
much.
Nami. I'll thank lawyer for passing through, giving us all this education and all that. Make sure if you can follow her on TikTok and all social media handles. Same as make sure you subscribe to our channel. Tell your friends about SVTV Africa. Share our video links to your friends to come and join us. My name is DJ Nyame. I'll thank my production team, DJ Click Sharon and Tina. My numbers are on the screen. You can WhatsApp me if you want to come on my show, 0244 790902 or 0240 Just send me voice note or WhatsApp message. Don't call. Calls not those. I beg. I'll respond to you. I'm out.